And taking a route most would not have expected. Josh goes with an Anheuser off the tee, trying to carry that turnover shot.
Representing Innova Champion Discs from Charlotte, North Carolina, your 2016 Utah Open champion, Big Germ, Jeremy Koling.
Hole 1, a par 4, 711 feet. And the more conventional route here is Big Germ with a hyzer on this long par 4 to get started. Not much action there, even on the shorter grass.
Representing Prodigy Disc from Mesa, Arizona, Paul Ulibarri.
Steve, I'm not sure if that was a unintended dab or a potential sneeze, but Paul Ulibarri's on the tee.
Paul is our 2015 Utah Open champion. That's why he's on this card, to see what he can do.
And low with a light tailwind pushes it down. He's in the open. He'll have an open shot from there.
Representing Latitude 64, your 2016 PDGA World Champion from Fort Mill, South Carolina, Ricky Wysocki.
And Steve, as you said, our Pro Tour points leader, Ricky Wysocki.
I've got to go ahead and say Rob Boland's doing a good job on the call. Great job by Rob today.
Gentle hyzer that's pushing left. And earlier today I followed the women's featured card. Steve edited it together. We're going to take a look as we move down the fairway on our opening hole at the Utah Open. Basically, players will need to either play wider out as the disc tends to fall left quicker, as in being more overstable, as you mentioned a moment ago, but also Ricky lining up a standstill forehand. Gives it a little bit of a turn, flirts with the tree, and actually connects. Anthon going with a putter, and it looks like just the right speed over the hill. He'll have a putt from there. Is forecasted to be in the high 80s to even the low 90s possibly on Saturday. Today it's somewhat overcast, and that's coming in hot, and it somehow fades into the sand trap
With all of these bunkers.
And Rick gives it a run. He looks and Yuli at this as he's putting. A solid recovery there by Big Germ. He's still going to walk away with the par 4. And Anthon with a short uphill putt, surprisingly low. Wysocki and Ulibarri along with Anthon will all clean up. This has been your first hole here at the Utah Open. We're going to move into hole 2. We'll be back with you after a word from our sponsors right here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Josh Anthon opens with the par 4. He's going with a hyzer out over the hillside and lands just inside circle 1. He'll have about a 31-foot putt from there. Any statistics on hole 2, Steve?
I'm sure there are, but I've been busy just checking out this very treacherous green, surrounded by bunkers. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, the greens for the ball golf course are also OB, so there is a lot of OB for them to deal with on this hole.
And are the greens in the ball golf course played the same way as a sand trap, in that you play from where it lies and then take a penalty?
I believe, I don't know. I believe I don't know.
I believe you don't know either.
I made sure to know about the bunkers.
And Big Germ's shot is much lower than we saw from Anthon. Germ's asking for it to sit. It comes in past the basket. And he gets the green flag. He is in bounds.
You asked about stats. This is actually the fourth hardest hole on the course, averaging over half a stroke above par, so it's a 3.52 average.
And Ulibarri goes up and over with the hyzer. The wind's pushing in nicely. And we have the spotter running it down, and it looks like he gets the red flag. A little too much power.
I thought that was an ace run.
And Wysocki will be fourth to tee. Expect to see another hyzer. There's a gentle wind pushing from right to left. This may be the calmest of the next 3 rounds. And a slight headwind picks up as Big Germ takes his putt from...
Don't want to miss that high. You'd sail right over Ricky's head in this case.
And on the uphill putt, we saw you. Cleanup for Koling. We know that. You said this is playing as the 4th most challenging hole. Is that correct, Steve? I think we've seen why.
It averages 3.5, and they just got...
Welcome back, everyone. On hole number 3, Josh Anthon still with the tee. He goes with a high hyzer, which is finishing up, and gallery approves.
Did that hit that tree, Terry? It looked like it hit the tree and dropped straight down, leaving him in between circle 1 and 2 from where I'm looking.
Again, we see Big Germ going with a lower line than we just saw from Anthon, who was much higher with his hyzer attempt. Looks like he's gone long past the basket.
One interesting thing about this hole is that pine tree just past the pin. If you go long, you've got a very difficult shot around a 5-foot wide pine tree.
Ulibarri has split the difference between Big Germ and Anthon's height. And it looks like he's also going to finish deep.
So just for clarification, the cart paths are not out of bounds, and they're just part of the course.
And as Steve says, looks like Wysocki has pulled that wide right and also deep. Let's see how the women played out on hole 3 earlier today.
Ricky gave that an amazing run, bearing in mind the wind, the distance, and that tree. Let's see what Jeremy can do.
Propped behind the tree. Oh, tricky in and out. It just touches the front chains and front basket. I'm not sure if that was fully in, but a good looking run there by Uli. Rick maintaining balance, and we'll see Uli tap in for his par. 3 pars and a birdie by Anthon. We're moving on to hole number 4. And welcome back. We have Josh Anthon on the tee. We talked about it earlier. He was making sure he got over on the turnover there. Fighting a little bit of a headwind here. Finds himself safe. Next to tee will be Big Germ. He's going to move a few items out of the way. He needs a long run up. And what an impressive shot by Big Germ. 453 feet.
Into a headwind.
And we see Ulibarri safe on the right side and short. And Wysocki's also finding himself safe. You have a long putt from there. We'll see how the women did on hole 4 earlier. We'll be back in a moment.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Paul Ulibarri for birdie. It's it. Birdie! Josh Anthon thrilling us. Back-to-back birdies. And Josh is saying, if somebody wants to win this tournament, I'm the man to catch. Dead center. A solid birdie by Jeremy. A solid par putt by Ricky Wysocki. Paul Ulibarri will drop it in. Let's go to a word from our sponsors.
And again, another nice turnover shot off the tee here by Josh Anthon, fighting the headwind here on hole number 5, 696 feet. This is a par 4. Big Germ's looking to bite off as much as he can on this drive. And a very low skip shot here by Big Germ, trying to take the water out of play on that left-hand side, especially throwing into a headwind. You don't want that to tail out left and hyzer into the water. And that continues to turn. That's going to finish in the center of the fairway when it finally comes down. The wind is lifting it and keeping it up.
Would you say so far Josh has the farthest drive out there?
Appears that he does, and Wysocki might be switching it up again. Headwind here on hole number 5. And I think Ricky might go after that long drive here. Steve, if this is playing as one of the easier holes according to par?
I'll tell you after the women. So, here we go with Jeremy.
And he switches it up on me. Goes with the backhand, plays the skip nicely. Not sure that was quite as nice as his doubles partner from...
It's going to be a good score, especially with this wind picking up. The last couple of days we have not had this much wind during the practice. Paul Ulibarri, very nice upshot, gets in the circle.
Shows a little bit about the strategy he's playing, that skip into the basket, don't want to go past, and you are right.
Just to get that extra distance, as you said, he's playing aggressive.
And his putter is hung wide right. He'll be looking at inside the circle from there. And a solid putt there by Big Germ. That is a birdie 3. Looks like the rest of the card mates are inside that, all looking at birdies. And just squeaking over the edge with that gentle Anheuser putt. Anthon will remain on the tee with honors. Moving on to the next hole.
Josh Anthon now has 3 birdies in a row.
Uli picks one up, and we see an easy tap in by Wysocki. 4 birdies here on hole number 5. We're moving on to a beautiful island green, hole 6. We'll be back in. The 261-foot par 3, and Anthon comes up short, hits the tree on the left side. Big Germ looking at a forehand. And a gentle flick here by Big Germ, carrying over. And just short of the pin, looking at a uphill putt. And Uli is saved by the disc stalker wall. And Wysocki's carrying nicely to the green with a forehand as well. And he's good. Josh confirming there's a drop zone. We'll be back in a moment after the women on hole 6. And Josh, almost exactly 10 meters. And he knew it right out of his hand with the Uli step putt. Easy cleanup here for Wysocki. What are we seeing on this hole, Steve?
About 25% go OB on this hole, 27 for the rest of the field. Actually, just dropped down to 26. And Anthon kept that stat alive. Let's go to some hole sponsors.
Welcome back to hole number 7. Big Germ out of his hand. We have the spotter chasing it down, and that is in fact OB. And that gets up and turns on him just a little bit. Looks like a great effort there by Paul Ulibarri. And Ricky also gets over on it. We'll see if that's going to carry too far past. We have again the spotter chasing it down. And he gives him the red flag. And Josh doesn't get over on it enough. He talked about playing the flex shots out here, knowing that he's going to need all the power he can. And he touches the green and then rolls. We'll see if we can get an official. It looks like our spotter is not going to tell us. Well, we'll find out when we get closer. And with OB, however, Josh puts himself a few feet from the pin. Wysocki very quick to fire. And Wysocki started running it down. Uh-oh, that was even a Wysocki grin there as he was running it down. I think we might be in for some trouble. Big Germ is in.
If Jim Leland is watching, he would be able to let us know that.
And a somewhat deflated group here as they all tap in. We're moving on to hole 9 right here at the Utah Open. And Paul looking to go right at the pin. And travels just past it deep. He gets the green flag. Looks to be about 35 feet.
This hole is 330 feet, and the play is past the basket. Paul's shot was perfect. You want to go right at it. And if you're going to miss, you want to miss long.
And we've seen so much wind here as the round gets started, and Big Germ parks it within 15 feet of the pin. And now, as we are here on hole 8, there is no wind to speak of whatsoever. We'll see if it remains calm throughout the afternoon. Wysocki opts for the hyzer, playing to the mound, and it has finished in the sand trap. And so Wysocki get the red and green flag there.
That is basically the equivalent of a 10-foot missed putt right there. Let's see how the ladies did on hole 8.
If this gets away from him and rolls, it could find the sand trap behind the basket. Or dead center chain with authority. Great shot by and Wysocki has the 2. Josh Anthon will be putting for his par 3 after going deep on his birdie. Clean up for Anthon. And Big Germ's going to put in for the bird. 3 birdies and the par by Anthon. And welcome back to hole number 9. Paul Ulibarri with the honors, playing a flex shot. Again, no wind. Very nicely placed shot. Steve's going to give us some details here about hole number 9 in terms of the difficulty and maybe even the distance. 819 feet on this par 4.
Wow. Someone should go 4.
And Big Germ with a misfire. He does get the safe sign, but that is almost hundreds of feet off the mark. And Big Germ just says, wow.
Accurate.
Wysocki playing a little bit of the flex as well. And I think he's putting himself in a better position. Anytime you're on the left side of this fairway, it seems to be a little bit more open, so you can attack this slightly elevated pin.
Yeah, you definitely want to be left on this hole.
And Josh going to the right. He's going to play it up that side. Full flex shot. We've got a long walk ahead.
Might as well do well at the first one you're playing. Here's Jeremy Koling's second shot. He's got a good look attacking that elevated back. It's pretty amazing seeing these mountains in the background. Paul Ulibarri looks like he left that a little left. He'll have a putt. It'll be a long one. I love seeing these mountains. It's just majestic here. Ricky with a very nice flick. Sits well within circle 1.
Hole 9.
Number 9. Number 9.
And with some go-karts in the background, Big Germ cards the birdie. Wysocki will have the easy tap in. Ulibarri will be left out of the party here. He's got just 14 feet left, maybe closer to 12. We have a double mando on hole number 10 in just a moment. And we'll be back after a word from our sponsors as we move to the back half here in opening round of the Utah Open. Welcome back to hole number 10, which features a double mandatory and perfectly played by Big Germ Koling. Wysocki would love to duplicate that effort. And Wysocki goes right through the mandatory tree, does not get the carry. after getting hung up. However, he has navigated the mando. And getting tricky here with a beat-up putter. Anthon goes with the roller, showing those skills. That is curling around nicely and very impressive.
You were accurate when you said a beat-up putter. I want to know how old that putter is, because it looks to be all 30 years old.
And speaking of 30 years old, as we watch, not get a good kick. I'll be back with a birthday message in a moment. Uli's step putt is short. Ricky's got about 73 feet. Circle Ricky, as we call it.
You smile at that point.
Anthon within 10 feet of the pin.
So Jeremy Koling with this putt's going to move into a second place tie. And Ricky Wysocki and Anthon also birdieing. Let's hear a word from our...
One's got to wonder, is the play off of the net here?
That is exactly the play. You can watch Jeremy's shot or check out Katrina in about a minute.
What a unique approach here. Wysocki goes with a forehand shot, even though there's a mandatory, which means you must navigate to the right of the tree with the yellow arrow. And what an unfortunate kick off in that as he hits one of the pillars. That is the driving range here at Mulligan's Golf Course.
You know that I live to contradict you, so I'm going to say that was not an unfortunate kick. If you hit that net, you're just going to roll along it, and you're going to hit those pipes. Let's see how the women navigated this mando. Exactly right, Terry. There's a couple places where there's holes in the net. Beautiful birdie putt by Paul Ulibarri. Just for a tie for the lead.
And Steve said that is for a tie of the lead. Big Germ, again, last year's champion here at the Utah Open. Ricky is going to take the full meter from the net. The cabling it is at the bottom. That'll bring him to within 10 feet of the pin. And Josh Anthon, the only one left out of the birdie party here.
We are seeing why this is the second easiest hole on the course.
We're moving on to the last third of the course, hole number 12.
That flexes beautifully around the third tree, skips in, and Jeremy is inside circle one. Even he doesn't know how he missed that tree.
Now we feel a gentle tailwind here, which is consistent with the headwind they faced as they were moving opposite direction earlier in the round. Wysocki's backhand is low and on the right side. Again, cart path is not OB at any point on this hole.
Jeremy has birdied 7 of the last 8 holes so far. He's going to make it 8 out of 9. And he will be our leader after he hits this birdie.
Josh flirting with the fence on the net, and we're moving on. We'll see how the women navigated hole 12. Easy for Ricky Wysocki from approximately 40 feet. Great height and speed. Anthon with the 2. We're expecting Uli to also get in on the action. And Big Germ will cap off this star frame here on hole number 12. And Big Germ really taking his time here, hoping that somehow is going to come out of the trees, and instead it hits and comes straight down. There is a tailwind. Again, this hole parallels a few of the previous holes we saw, so no surprise that it is a tailwind.
Jeremy was asking, as he watched his disc go, he was asking, oh my gosh, there's a mando. But the mando is actually on the next hole. He drove it pretty far and successfully navigated the mando on 14.
This is a crush by Wysocki. This is 524 feet. And playing as the second most difficult hole, according to par, being a par 3.
This is a very long par 3. It's one of our discussion points with the women's tee conversation, and just did a quick look. None of the women reached circle 1 or 2 in regulation on this hole, and they all got about 3. So Paul Ulibarri with a very nice crush, setting himself up with a putt just outside circle 1. Let's see what Josh Anthon does if he does his flex, bringing the water into play a little bit.
He's going for it, and he's done just that. Played the flex. That's going to come out of it. It's just a matter of if he'll get a skip or a flare out of that. However, that's going to be in layup territory. Big Germ with a very light approach shot. Forehand comes up short. Oh, and a heartbreaker there by Paul Ulibarri. That is. And to save the par, he scoops up his mini in frustration.
The average on the hole is a little over 3. And that's going to knock Jeremy. He's still in first, but now he's tied with Ricky and Bobby at 6 down. With Bobby's got a hole in hand.
And with a smile, Uli will tap in. We're moving on to the short, but very well protected, hole 14. And Anthon will clean up. That will be to save his par here on hole 14. And easy for Big Germ on the birdie. We're moving on to hole 15 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And Steve, with the position we're in, it's actually kind of difficult to see exactly where that has landed. Wysocki likes his effort, and it is in fact safe. Doesn't appear to have any turnover in that shot as he fades to the left. Ulibarri is also safe. And Big Germ with a different approach. He goes with a forehand, and that is in fact OB. There is a gentle wind coming in at their face. And that looks to almost be of a layup in nature off the tee here. Playing for the hyzer, he's safe. We'll move on right here on hole 15. And Big Germ ultimately opts for a forehand, which is coming in toward the basket. And Josh hangs it out over the water. I'm not sure what day of the week it is anymore, even Steve. I think that's his second shot, and he's looking for a skip. He's gotten just that. That'll put him on the green. Look.
First round.
And Ulibarri is able to throw a hyzer out and around. And Josh's ante coverage. And Wysocki from the middle of circle 2.
I was with you. I wasn't sure who went OB, but it was in fact Paige. And she might be knocked off the lead card.
And Paul converts, and my apologies, I was in fact following around the women's card earlier today. I was trying to recall the turn of events that took place, a very dynamic round earlier. And Anthon is in. We'll be back on hole 16 in just a few moments.
Terry, I love the challenge of this hole. If you want the birdie, you've got to give those bunkers, you've got to bring those bunkers into play. And Ricky, a beautiful shot, leaves himself about a 45-50 footer, which he's drained a couple of those recently. It's just a very well designed golf hole.
And Uli with a light misfire, it looks like. I'm not sure he was looking to go that far left. He may have in fact been trying to lay up short of the bunkers, but not necessarily be left of them, because that's going to bring a different angle in as he approaches the basket. That is flexing out for Big Germ. It's a matter of where it's going to finish, and it looks like it is short of the green. Finds the OBCN trap. And Josh with a completely different route from the previous three throwers. And looks like he gets hung up by the tree, but it is safe. Cool. Or the circle 2 flag things. And it sits down after hitting the front of the basket.
And he has been playing aggressive all day. He's a confident man.
And that is short to within 8 feet. For the par.
This Bobby Music is in the clubhouse, leading at -8. Ricky Wysocki and Jeremy Koling are 7 down. AJ Risley is 7 down. Paul Ulibarri is 6 down. This next hole is going to decide which of these guys is going to be on the lead card tomorrow.
Or maybe hole 18 will as well. And Wysocki with the tee and a forehand shot here on hole number 17. That was fading toward the water, and that is in fact OB, red flag. Uli with a backhand shot, which is tracking right toward the pin, goes just past it, however sits down. Have an easy birdie from there. Big Germ lining up a forehand.
Paul Ulibarri had a really rough start, bogeying the second hole. Since then, 7 birdies, no bogeys. He's getting ready to make another one. That's going to put him in second place.
Big Germ with a little bit of flex there. Again, very little wind that comes in and skips just past the basket, and it is OB, water behind the basket.
There's 2 tough OBs in a row for Jeremy. Let's see if he can save the par again.
And playing a flex shot, he's hoping that's going to hook up for him, pan out and just sit. That goes deep as well, and also OB for Josh Anthon. Back here to the green of 17. Left side and in for Ricky Wysocki as he shakes his head in disgust. He's going to save the par. And very awkward footing there for Big Germ on the inclined putt he has. Very similar for Anthon. And what a turn of events here with just 1 hole to play in our opening round. We'll be back. You're watching the 2017 Utah Open presented by Latitude 64. And Paul Ulibarri with a forehand here on hole 18 and throws a great shot that gets just up and over the ledge. He's looking at less than 20 feet.
Oh. Ricky Wysocki hits it on the island green. He's going to have himself about a 35-footer facing the water.
Yes.
Paul Ulibarri gets the birdie. He's in the lead with Bobby Music at 8 under. Same with Ricky. And Jeremy Koling has the same opportunity right here.
And Big Germ, shocked that did not find the basket. Quite frankly, we're not. We know that other people on the card need to ace when Big Germ is joining them. That needs to get up. Oh, and what a skip as it comes in. It carries past the basket.
It's inbound.
And inbounds. Wow, we're going to move to the green. We'll be back in a moment. And what a putt by Ricky Wysocki.
Lead right now, tied with Bobby Music.
Oh, and that splashes down into the water after splashing out of the chain's right side. Big Germ converts from 20 feet.
This course brings a lot of OB into play. You're going to have a lot of close calls, and these guys have been pushing the envelope all day.
And Anthon converts with a challenging footing as he moves up.